Today I'm going to be talking a bit about the importance of rest and stillness, something that is often neglected in our excessively busy culture where we seem to glamorize this mode of being where we are constantly in a motion of go, of pursuit, constantly striving towards the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. You see this in how glamorized productivity is in our culture. People obsess over their morning work routines, over working endlessly. They turn themselves into a commodity, essentially, because they feel that their value is in what they do. And so they completely prioritize the doing aspect of being. And this isn't to say that doing stuff isn't good. But when it is taken into excess, it inevitably leads to burnout, to this depletion of your energetical resources. And of course, the counterpoint to doing, to striving, is rest. We do need rest. We all need sleep. If you're deprived of sleep for long enough, you will die. And yet, people fail to recognize the sheer importance of rest in their waking lives, and they wonder why they feel so exhausted all the time. And they feel that, oh, to cure this exhaustion, I have to do something, whether it's change my diet or do some kind of different exercise routine. They can't just let go and relax into stillness, into complete inactivity. Complete inactivity is perversely seen as a waste of time. When you're resting, you're not doing anything, and a lot of people they can't rest. They have this constant noisy nattering within their mind, which is telling them, "Oh, I've got this thing to do, that thing to do, this thing to do." They're constantly this cycle of thoughts of what they need to occupy themselves with. They can't confront nothingness. They can't confront inactivity. They can't confront stillness. And to such people, people who are uncomfortable with inactivity, they will find the notion of meditation a thoroughly um, uncomfortable activity. They perhaps may question its usefulness. They will question the purpose of doing nothing. They think that doing nothing by itself is worthless, it's a waste of time. But I disagree with this. I think we confront the most intimate and meaningful aspects of ourselves when we are sitting with ourselves in complete inactivity, without this drive, anything trying to pull us away from the moment. You see, activity, when we're doing stuff, often we do stuff to pull ourselves out of introspection. And when we are doing nothing, when we are sitting in stillness, that is when we're in a more introspective, more contemplative zone of existence, where our attention, rather than being directed outwards into the world, is rather reflecting back internally. It's quite an introverted way of being. When our attention is moving in a sort of way, we come to become acquainted with the deeper aspects of ourselves, the deeper thought patterns, deeper desire systems motivating our being, what we value, what things drive us, what things arouse in us fear. We peel the layers of the onion that is ourselves when we are residing in stillness, when we are just sitting in silence and waiting, waiting for whatever comes up. And when you are waiting for whatever to come up, things will come up naturally. Thoughts will come up. Things that you may have forgotten you need to do, or things that you want to do later. So it's an imagination. Your mind will start wandering. This often happens when you start to sit in silence, when you first begin a process of meditation. But if you can go beyond that, beyond the mind's natural capacity to spontaneously arouse certain contents, whether it be memories or things that you want to do in the future. Your mind is a powerful imagination machine, really, and it can take you into all sorts of different places. But beyond the mind, there is this kind of silence of emptiness, a silence of no thought at all, kind of like deep sleep, when you are just there. But that sense of there-ness, that sense of isness, that sense of reality, is not expressing anything, it's just expressing itself. And it's a very deeply restorative and healing mode of being to be in. Our minds, they can be so noisy all the time, constantly filled with ideas, aspirations, things to do, things to distract oneself with. But if we can for a moment just empty ourselves of all that sort of stuff and just simply reside in what we are fundamentally, beneath all the noise and the illusion, we find ourselves in a very naturally blissful and restorative state. It's a kind of state that many have to enter into deep sleep to attain, to dissolve into. Some people can cultivate this capacity of awareness to be able to reside in that state at any time, this state of pure silence, pure equanimity, and pure surrender. Their mind is in a motion of not actively trying to do stuff, but is in a motion of receptivity, of receiving whatever wishes to arise in it. Because that's a quality of our thoughts, you see. Thoughts will just arise in our awareness. We do not force them into existence. We are the medium. The mind is the medium through which thoughts express, like vibrations of a guitar string. And to bring back to the topic of rest, the topic of replenishment, I believe that a conscious state that is of this replenishing quality that I describe is one where the mind is not actively striving to do anything, it's not actively trying to change, conform one's reality, it's not filled with this internal restlessness, this internal dissatisfaction. It is simply still with being. It is accepting what is unconditionally and resting in that. You see, the peaceful mind is a mind which is not in this relentless motion of striving. It's not trying to change anything. It's not desiring anything other than itself. And when you are not desiring to change, to be something which you are not currently are, then you are at peace with yourself. You have accepted yourself. So therefore, if you wish to cultivate this mental and spiritual notion of rest, of replenishing, you have to come to this acceptance of who you are in the moment. When you are in rest, you are just being. And this natural state of being, like the being that you enter into when you sleep, is naturally restorative. When you are doing stuff all the time, you're not allowing yourself to enter into a mode of being where you can restore, where you can replenish yourself. You are constantly draining your cup of energy. And if you do this excessively, you will burn out. You will experience fatigue, exhaustion, lack of motivation. Sometimes we do just need rest. Sometimes we do just need to let go of this incessant drive that has been inculcated in us by our culture, that doing is good, that being busy is good and morally virtuous. You have to take care of yourself. You have to take care of your body. You cannot abuse yourself. Otherwise, you will reap consequences. Your body will tell you when it has had enough. And it will tell you this through fatigue, exhaustion, chronic stress, just this general feeling of like, I just need to sleep. And when you feel that urge to just sleep, you should listen to it. You should listen to your body. You should not abuse your body. And I think I'll leave that there. Goodbye.